It's been a little while since I made an update video about our chicken system, so I thought it'd be nice to share some notes as we come into later fall here in early November. This part of the reason why I thought I would make the video is I think right now the composting system is at a peak moment to show in a pretty dramatic way how it functions. You can see the incoming material. Right now we're doing fall cleanup in the gardens and bringing in a wheelbarrow at a time of things that we're cutting back, deadheading flowers, pulling out weeds, etc., and dumping this in the incoming port for our chicken composting, and then of course turning it down slope. I just opened this up about 10 minutes ago, and you can see how incredibly thermophilic and hot that is. It's probably about 160, 180 in there. So this is the point in the process where the weed seeds hopefully are getting cooked. And again, that whole filtering system of woody, sticky stuff is going into these side areas which are more mellow composting bays. This is where the earthworm and the fungal life can get established. Tumbling down the line, it's getting cooler, but that's still nice and warm. The chickens are a little less interested in it, but they still work with it. Tumbling out of the bay. As long as I pile it up, they'll kick it apart. This is where I'm integrating an older compost into it. So this has its own age and nutrient load. And then finally into the finishing sprouting bay. This is where the last of the weed seeds have a chance to germinate. The texture is getting really fine. You can see there's just the last few little weed seeds here, there, and then the final tumble into the extraction bay, which I finally got caught up. We are on the home stretch of bringing this summer's compost up into the garden. It's been about 100 plus wheelbarrow loads, 80 to 100 wheelbarrow loads, and the system's working beautifully. The goal is to get the last of the compost that's finished enough out and onto the beds to rest for the winter, so we have room to really bulk this thing out with fall leaves that people are bagging up. Our newest chicken friends, it feels exciting to say, we got 12 of them, nice mixed group. They had a really rough situation, and it's beautiful to see that after a few weeks they've really figured out how to get on board with scratching for compost and enjoying this whole system. There's been very little pressure on them since there's so many piles of resources. There's no real hierarchy stress that they have to deal with. And right now that one's drinking some spoiled raw local pastured milk. That's a pretty good way to live. And here's another one that's a new member that was working on. This is the sprouting yard, which I talked about in another video, adding tremendous amounts of whole grain, in this case wheat and barley and oats, to sprout in. This was their old bedding from the deep litter method, which exposed to rain and scratching has turned into really nice compost. I piled these up because I want them to actually kick these apart and eat the rest of the grain in this, so I can extract this area as well and get that sitting on top of our garden beds this fall to rest and mellow so we can use it in the spring. As soon as this area is cleared out, I can bring in the deep litter that's in the coop and start this process again. And since we're in the cold time of year, what I'll probably do is bring the deep litter out in windrows, seed it very heavily, and then put low tunnel hoops and poly over it, so they'll basically be little greenhouses that the chickens can go in and enjoy sprouts, and it'll help germinate. The other newness with this system is all of our roosters are fully done. For those of you that have been watching consistently, you'll know those barred rocks that we got that I was all excited about a straight run. 100% roosters. So thanks, lady on Craigslist, who told me I was getting a nice mix. We now have a freezer full of chicken to eat for the winter, so it still worked out. But it's nice. I feel the energy of this whole group is a little different. They're not getting chased first thing in the morning. I don't really sense panic in them when the roosters come around. Even though they weren't the worst roosters, it's still a stressor on them. So now it's quiet, it's more mellow, and we've got enough space in the system now to probably accommodate another 10, 20 hens. So we're going to look for some more going into the fall. Egg production is down since it's cooling off and the light's changing, and it would be nice to not use lights, but rather just have enough birds to get our egg needs met. I believe this system can accommodate maybe up to 70 birds between the size of the coop and the amount of food that's available to them. This composting system, right now the limiting factor is the number of birds that are here to scratch and eat it. I feel like we get backlogged. I could imagine 20 birds on here right now all picking it apart and once a day building it up again. So that's the next step, is more hens and more eggs, since right now the only thing that we're lean on is chickens and eggs. The rest of the system is poised for expansion. So that's our fall scenario. Thanks for watching. They look so weird when they're molting.